Hi everyone, this is Alex with Dallas Fish Daddy again, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my RO Buddie system. And from my previous video, I think this is all you saw, and this is the traditional unit, which has a sediment and it has a carbon filter and of course the RO system there. But I've added a lot more, and there's a backstory to this. So I found out after doing some just random testing of the water that was coming out of the filtered line into my bucket that I was having some chloramines that were present. And I didn't want that to continue, of course. And so I did some reaching out to Aqualife and talked to them about my issue that I was having, because the chlorine was gone, but I was having chloramines. And so what I ended up having to do is get a Carbon Plus unit. And so that's here. This is the Carbon Plus filter. And then I bought the additional sediment because I'm learning that my sediment thing fills up pretty fast. And this was, let's see, changed out on March 15th and was already browning. And so I was like, why not let's do another stage? I know like the saltwater people out there will say, oh, I automatically start off with a 5-stage or even 6 or 7-stage. But for me, I was kind of just learning. And I would recommend, if you know that you have chloramine or chlorines present in your water, you want to go ahead, purchase this and then this. You can all get the tubing and the connectors and everything online on Amazon. That's where I was able to get it. And this tubing, believe it or not, is hard to find. Like, I went to a plumbing store, I went to Home Depot, Lowe's. I wasn't able to get that exact tubing. And so the best place to get it is Lord Amazon. And it's like, I think it was like $8 or $10 for 25 feet of it. And then I was able to get these little clips that you can organize the tubing with. I also want to talk about this gauge. I think this was like a $9 gauge on Amazon. It's a must. And the reason I say that is RO systems prefer to, and I found this out through research, prefer to run at a certain PSI. And, too little, it's not going to be running as efficient, and then you're not going to be getting as much water. And then too much, you might bust a fitting. They can only handle so much. Like this can handle up to 80 PSI. I think this here is also 80 PSI. But from my understanding, most people will tell you run it at about 50 to 60, and that's a good place to be for the RO unit. 50 to 60 is the most efficient pressure, input pressure. The key though with this is you want to install the gauge after your carbon before it goes into your RO system. So it's not from your source, it's not from the source here, it's after you go through your carbon. And so you can kind of follow it here. It goes up and around into here, because that's where you want it to be, about 50 to 60, because it's going to lose some pressure throughout this whole thing. And then I also want to talk about this, and this is a backflow device, and they're really simple to install. There's some other videos on how to do that, but essentially what you're doing is like 30 seconds, which when you turn on the RO system, before you make the water, like your filtered water, you're going to allow this valve to be opened. And what it's going to do is flush the membrane. It's a membrane flush. And so it's just going to force the water to go through the system really fast and into the RO membrane really fast and push out a lot of the contaminants. Once that 30 seconds is up, I just turn this to the closed position, which it puts the flow restrictor back on and allows the pressure to rise to that 50 to 60. Because if you're doing a flush, you're only getting like 6 or 8 PSI because the water's rushing through. And then I will make another video about how to make that little device, but it's cheap and it comes in all those connectors you can get on Amazon. But essentially, this is an updated video about my RO system. Really enjoy it still. But I wanted to inform you all that chloramines were starting to become present. And I don't know if the water supply in North Texas, they've made some adjustments in their disinfectant, and that's why it's in there now. But regardless, we've got it taken care of with the sediment and the Carbon Plus unit. It's able to remove the chloramines, most of them, and then your chlorine, of course, is from this other one. So you get your chlorine coming out here, and then the chloramines are coming out here. But as a suggestion, you should always like test your water on the regular, even in your bucket that you're making, because even at a TDS of 10 or less, maybe 15 or less, depending on your RO unit, you want to see what that 15 is made of. Because some of it might be chloramine, and if that's the case, you want to dechlorinate your water before putting it into the fish tank. So that's all I have with this video. All of these items can be purchased on Amazon, and I also put a little valve here too to turn it off quicker so things don't overflow. Again, this is Alex with Dallas Fish Daddy, and thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.